According to Ghana's Public Utilities and Regulatory Commission, utility tariffs in the country could shoot up as high as 150%, especially for water and electricity tariffs. Now, the Commission has been engaging stakeholders in the past few months ahead of this possible hike. Now, for more on this unfolding story, and of course, to get a sense of what this could mean for Ghanaian industries, I'm now being joined from Accra, Ghana by Seth Tum Akwaboah, Executive Director, Association of Ghana Industries. Thank you so much, Seth, for joining us.
Thank you.
Now let's start off with what the general reaction has been since we got the news that there could be a significant hike in utilities, particularly for water and electricity. Now, it would appear that a majority of Ghanaians believe that the Ghanaian government is perhaps being insensitive at this time when we've seen the Ghanaian economy not doing too well. Do you think that perhaps the timing is off?
Well, let me first of all say that it's quite challenging. These are challenging times for Ghanaian industries. But as far as the utility tariffs are concerned, it was expected. It was indeed expected that there was going to be adjustments because for more than 1.5 years to 2 years, there have not been major adjustments to the utility tariffs. So we were expecting it. The problem is the quantum rate. Almost 80% increment is where the challenge is. Unfortunately, we still don't have access to the full numbers. There are a number of assumptions or determinants of the tariff levels. They take into account the exchange rate, they take into account the percentage of the production that is going to use fuel, crude oil, or gas. It's also taking into account the hydro and thermal mix. These are the key determinants. And depending on the calculations, the figures that went into it, you'll be able to determine what the rate should be. Unfortunately, we don't have full details of the assumptions yet. We're asking the PURC to give it to us. But whatever it takes, whatever the assumptions would have been, the mere fact that you are producing a certain cost and then a major cost component goes up in the middle of the year by that much presents a bit of a challenge. And that is what the situation is. Quite challenging. But as far as the prices are concerned, it was indeed expected to go up at a certain point.
Now let's talk about in terms of the impact this could have on Ghanaian industries. How bad do you think this could be?
Well, I would say that different industries will experience it at different levels. There are companies like the fuel companies whose electricity consumption is so huge because energy consumes about 30% of the cost of production. So in that case, if you have more than 50% increase, in fact, a major cost component, the effect will be quite very, very severe. But there are others that may not be using that much, and therefore, in that case, the level of impact will not be as huge as the state company. But generally speaking, when you have such an important cost component in your cost profile going up by this much, it definitely has an effect. But we are here to talk to the companies to see what adjustments they can make to absorb this or survive another circumstance.
Okay, now obviously advocacy groups have vowed to resist this planned tariff hikes by the regulator. Do you think that perhaps the regulator or the Ghanaian government has not been able to effectively communicate the importance of this tariff hike? Because we know that the government says it's trying to ensure that a lot of equipment for both the water corporation and electricity, that there could be some changes in equipment and of course to make both of them more efficient.
Well, I think they have done quite a good job on the communication. The PR department of the Utility Regulatory Commission has been on there explaining. And we also appreciate some of the explanation they are giving to us because the recent experience we had where we were having power rationing and power outages was not good for industries either. So that alternative is even more expensive. And therefore, to some extent, they've articulated their concerns and their views. And we all appreciate the fact that we need to support the utility companies to survive. Because if they don't survive and they don't provide the quality of service, it even affects us more. So I think that has been well communicated. But the point is, even if you have communicated that so well, the bottom line is that for industries, you see a production cost being at a certain level, and then suddenly you see it going up. transfer it to the consumers and you want to absorb everything, the question is, can your margin absorb it? If you cannot, then you are getting out of business. On the other hand, if you transfer it in the form of higher prices to the consumers, the question is, would that product be competitive in your own environment? Because you also have lots of imports from different parts of the world, competing with your own product. So that is a challenge. So we appreciate all the concerns that they have. We also appreciate the fact that the utility companies have to survive. But the bottom line is that it is also very challenging for businesses, industrial companies.
Well, thank you so much, Seth. We're going to have to. Thank you so much, Seth. We're going to have to leave it there for now. Thank you for giving us your own perspective on this developing story. With that was said, Tuum Akwobo, Executive Director, Association of Ghana Industries.